Out of the street corners they scream. You knew it was coming. You've been waiting for this for months. Rumour hardened into fear and now they scream at you. The sirens, their hysterical wail tearing through the white noise of the city. And you run. You run to pick up those things that can never be replaced. A picture of them in the days when they still loved you. Your mother's wedding ring. And then you turn to your shelf of games. You only have room for 5. 5 games for Doomsday. 5 Games for Doomsday is a show in which board game personalities are thrust into a cabin in the woods to outrun an oncoming disaster, but can only take 5 of their games with them. But which will they choose? My guest this week is a foundational member of the Venice board game scene. Under the tutelage of Alex Randolf, he honed his design skills before going out on his own. Since then, he's designed countless games and has won the Deutsche Kinderspiel Prize for his game Leo muss zum Friseur. My guest this week is Leo Colovini. Leo, welcome to the cabin.
Hello, how are you?
I'm fantastic. So, how difficult was it for you to pick the 5 games to take to the cabin?
The first 4 games was not too difficult because I think they are games that we must have. And the most difficult choice was to bring one game of mine, and it was very difficult to choose only one of them because I nearly published 100 different games, so to choose only one is difficult. But at the end, I choose the easiest one, the one that you can use with a very large, wide range of players.
Mm-hmm. So let's go back to the beginning then. So you grew up in Venice. What was growing up in Venice like?
Venice, it's a very special city, and I don't know. Probably since when I was a child, I was free to go through the city because there were less dangers than in other cities. No cars and no criminality at all. Or it was a very and there were not so many tourists like today. So I was used to spend most of my afternoon in a place not far from my home, and we played basketball, soccer, but one time one of the guys of the group told me that there were a chess club in the neighbors, and we started to go there and to play chess. And a game that was learned to me by my father when I was really a small child. And so I started to play chess in this club. And one of the members, I was 10, 11, 12 years old, so a very small child. And one of the members of the club was a strange man who spoke with a foreign accent and with hair similar to Einstein. And it was Alex Randolf. And but I just know him because we played chess together, and I had no idea who he was really. But one evening he came to the club with a box of a game. The title was Mad Mate, and it is a crossover between Western and Japanese chess. and proposed to us to play it.
Mm.
And the game was wonderful because introducing the special rules of the Japanese chess that when you capture an opponent piece, that piece becomes yours.
Mm.
And in the next move you can enter it on the chessboard as it was yours. This is very strange if you apply it to the Western chess.
Yeah.
And but I was literally thunderstruck because that man had really invented and published a game. For me, it was a miracle, a fairy tale, and because since I was a child, I love to play board games. But especially I love to change the rules, to invent new rules, to build a new board, and I really loved this kind of activity.
Mm.
And so when I realized that there were really someone who did the job, a big world opened up to me. Therefore, together with the other members of the club, we began to attend Alex Studio for playtesting his games. I remember he put on the table the chocolates, and every time somebody wins a game, he gets a chocolate. and in that period, I received the imprinting. I learned the secret of the job directly from the man who invented the game inventors. So I was really so lucky to meet probably the most important author in the world in that period.
Hmm.
And this make me helped me a lot, obviously.
And why did Alex Randolf live in Venice?
He lived really in many places in the world. He lived a lot in Japan, obviously in the United States, in France. But then when he arrived to Venice, he fell in love with the city, and he was never able to go away again. And he was a real Venetian. He had a couple of boats, and he rows. He even participated to the Voga Longa, that was a sort of rowing marathon, and he really loved Venice, and Venice is really perfect for people like him, but for creative people, because the life here is slower. You have more time. It's different, really. I think that Venice helps a lot.
And how good was his Italian? Did he speak Italian well?
Yes. He has just a strange accent with the R. I don't know in English. R moscia, the R. It was strange, and but he really spoke very well, and even sometimes he spoke Venetian dialect. It was very funny when you use Venetian dialect words.
So your first game then is a game from Alex Randolf, and this is Twixt. Why have you chosen this Alex Randolf game?
I think Twixt is Alex masterpiece. In fact, in the tomb yard, in the cemetery, he wrote. He wanted that. He wrote, here lies the author of Twist. So it was really, even for him, the most important game he do. And I think it's one of the very few modern games that can be at the same level of the classic, great classic game like chess, backgammon, Go, because it is a very simple game, just a few rules, but with an incredibly deep strategy. It is in fact one of the games that is played in the Mind Sport Olympiad, for example, because it is really a great game.
And is this typical of Alex Randolph's designs, or is it unique in the kind of games he designed?
It is typical because the Alex style that is also my style, that I inherited it from him, is to try to have the most strategic depth with less rules is possible, and this was really a typical aspect of Alex game. He learned me that you have you never have to invent a rule if it is not really necessary, and less rules you have in a game, more the original idea shine. If you every rule that you put on the original idea make it less brilliant, more hidden. If we have a few rules, the original idea, the core of the mechanism is more evaluated, more important. This is the Alex style.
I spoke to Bruno Catala, and he said, if you want to be serious as a game designer, you should design an abstract game. Do you think that's true? That an abstract game is pure game design?
I like either the abstract games and the games with background, with the scenario. I think that most of the European games are after games with a dress. So even if a game is very thematized, the mechanism is abstract. For example, there's a Magic the Gathering that is a game in which the team is very important. You have a big number of magic creatures, but if you look at the game itself, it's just colors and numbers. For example, I have one of my friends and partners, Dario De Toffoli, that is really a brilliant gamer and player, and he doesn't like fantasy and this kind of atmospheres. I always told him if Magic the Gathering was with colors and numbers instead of mana, magic, you would have loved it. So all the games are abstract in their core mechanism, especially in the European style games, because obviously there are the simulation game are different. They are um, games in which the rules must simulate something. But in the European games, the rules simply are something that are necessary for play, not because you have to show something. And the team is therefore more address that it's something you put over for making the game more commercial, more attractive. But so I don't think that there is really such a big difference among an abstract games or not.
So, I want to talk now about you as a designer. So, when did you feel confident enough to design your own games?
As I told you, I started when I was very, very young, and I tried to speak to Alex about my ideas, and they were very silly ideas of a small child. But Alex had the feeling that that idea contains something. It was not only the stupid little ideas. So he encouraged me to invent games, and I think my career can be divided in three phases. The first phase started in the 1986 when I published the Drachenfest. That was my first game, and it was signed together with Alex. And during all those years, I worked closely with Alex, and we published together other games like Incognito, The Osterinsel, and also the games that I signed alone were strongly influenced by Alex's advice. And in all that period, I was really totally dependent from him. Also because I didn't have still direct contact with the publishers, but I started to know the people. I started to go to the fairs, but always I was a sort of follower of Alex. Then the second phase, the maturity, comes when I started the development of Carlos Magnus, Cartagena, and Clans around 2000. 00. And I still was under the protective wing of Alex. For example, he designed the shape of the tiles in Carolus Magnus and in Cartagena, and he put us in contact with Winnie Moves because he was one of the partners of the company. But from Carolus Magnus, my name started to be known as a game designer, and even alone, not only the partner of Alex. And then when Alex passed away in 2004, the third phase started. Now he is no more with me. He cannot help me. He cannot advise me. But I still have his spirit inside. And I'm sure he would have loved a game like Leo Goes to the Barber, and this is the reason I dedicated the victory of the Deutsche Kinderspielepreis to him.
How difficult was it to lose Alex, both professionally and personally?
It was hard. I remember we were in Nuremberg when the first problem, heart attacks, and he goes to the hospital and he stayed in Germany 1 month before coming back to Venice. And the last years was not easy for him because he was very weak. So it was very difficult to see him in the last years. And when he passed away, it was really a terrible moment for everybody here in Venice who loved him. And I remember when I knew he was gone, I went to the hospital to say goodbye to him together with other people, other friends, and I was very sad, and because he was not only a professional partner, he was really something more. Very similar to another father for me. He learned to me everything about the game design, but also we spoke together about any subject. We spoke music, sport, girlfriends. It was really important for me.
So, your next game then is a classic, and this is chess. How good are you at chess?
I'm not so good. I'm probably stronger than master of the people who never played chess in a club, but I'm surely not a master. But I love to play chess because I think it's the game with the highest replayability of the history because you can play really thousands of games and you are never bored.
And do you still get better at chess? Is it a game that you continue to improve at throughout your life?
I continue to play it, but I don't think I'm improving because if you want to improve, you must play more seriously. Um, and now I play just for fun, short games, 15 minutes, and then in such a way you have no chance to get better. It's probably and also I played most of the time with the phone or with the computer, and so I think if I have to play again with the chessboard, probably I have some problems to recognize the pieces to have a good overview of the game.
I want to talk now about winning the Spiel des Jahres. So, firstly, were you surprised to be nominated for the prize?
I was nominated 3 times, and the first time Actually, it was not a surprise because the critics were so good, and the rumors. So I expected to be nominated, and also I must be, frankly speaking, I expected even to win with Carolus Minus. Um, but I didn't. I unfortunately I never won the Speed Series. I only was nominated 3 times, and the other 2 times with clans, uh, I was. It was more a surprise, and because I didn't have idea that I would have been nominated. And also when I didn't win, I had not the same expectation I had with Carolus. And again with Leo, that was nominated for the Kinder Spilecialis. In such a case, again, I knew that the chance was high, the chance to win was high, but also I knew that at least one of the two opponents was very strong too. And so when the light illuminated the other games, it was really disappointing. But I was it was not a surprise. And then on the other hand, with Leo, I won the Deutscher Spiele Prize. That is the other very important prize. And so I get my satisfaction in any case.
And so, I guess, is it the big dream of every game designer to win the Spiel des Jahres one day?
Yes, I think so, because it's like the Oscar for a movie maker. It's the most important prize you can win, and so yes, it's my professional goal is to win sooner or later. Maybe this year, I hope. I have a game that is released by Pegasus Spiele, that could be in the right range for the Spiel des Jahres. Let's hope. You never can know before. The jury is unpredictable.
So your next game then is another classic, a bit more modern than chess though, and this is Acquire. Why is Acquire so good?
Acquire is also one of the game I like more to play. It's always different every game, and it contains such a brilliant mechanism that is the merging of the companies. But there is also some luck factor because you have to pick up the number of tiles, and you have to manage the money. It has all the elements that I love in a game. And I think Sid Saxon and Alex are still the best designer of the history.
Gamers might not know Alex Randolf and Sid Saxon. Why should modern gamers play their games?
They should play their games because they would have discovered an incredibly fresh creativity that in most of the great games that are today available, They are great. They are very interesting, very deep, but I think they have not the geniality, the creativity that was in the Alex and Sid games. Um, uh, for example, uh, every year there are 100 games with the workers placement, and yes, the people like them, and so designers still make that games, and gamers now love to play games, complex games with a lot of rules, a lot of elements, but the elegance and the magic that a gamer of Sid, of Alex, that with one rule you have a great game. I think this is the secret. Um, I think they are really another level.
And do you think that Acquire is Sid Sackson's best game?
Yes, Acquire or Can Stop are my two favorite games of him.
So I want to talk now about the Italian gaming scene. So what is the Italian gaming scene like?
Italy is still a small market uh, because there are many gamers, but only gamers. There are not the family market, not the children market. Um, but in the last year, things are improving a lot, especially in the sector of the gamers. And there are a lot of good companies that publish very good games, a lot of good designers, and I think that we like as a studio jockey, we can have a small role in this development because with Premier Chimede we helped a lot the Italian designers and important designer like Simone Luciani or Tascini participated, Paolo Mori participated to the Premier Chimede and grow also because of the premium. So we are very proud of this. But on the other hand, the the market of the family games is still very small. So I hope that in the future the gamers of today that are young people will grow. We will have is their own family, and with their family they will play with children, and I think in 5-10 years probably also the family market will grow also in Italy.
And do you have a publisher in Italy that you think is doing special things?
They make very good games, and the publisher, there are a lot of publishers, and uh, they make games, especially in the gamers market or in the hobby market. We have a really good publisher like, for example, Ares Games that published the War of the Ring. or Cranio Creation and Giochi Uniti, DV Games with Bang. So we have really a good range of publishers here.
So your next game is, a lot of designers have chosen this, and it's cheating a little bit, but you've chosen a double deck of cards. Why a double deck of cards?
Because a double deck of cards means not 5 games for the Doomsday, but 5,000 games for the Doomsday. And so with a double deck, you can really play a lot of fantastic games. And also you can invent new games with cards. So I think it's probably the wisest choice for the Doomsday.
And is there a special Italian game that is very popular there that people outside of Italy don't know?
We have some very good games like Madrasso, Tresette, Scopa, Scopone, that are played with regional cards that are different than the poker cards. But this is a tradition that is going down. It's more a tradition of the elder people, and the new generation play much less this kind of traditional games. And it's a pity because they are very good.
And so, as a game designer, how important are cards for you?
They are one of the main elements because in a deck of cards you can use it for a lot of things. It can be a randomic engine. You can use for deduction, for moving, for fighting. Really is an incredible instrument.
So I want to talk now about the future. So what games do you have coming in the future?
In this year, for example, in Essen, there are some new games. For example, there is another chapter of the escape room lines that I developed for Moses, and it's a chapter that I'm very proud of it because I think it's higher level than the first 3 chapters, and it's set in Venice, so there are a lot of mystery. There are the characters who live in Venice. There are really Venice history. I think it's a good game. Then I have Villains with Ravensburger. That is a card game based on another card game I published with them. There is Kuzo Oka with Pegasus. That is a sort of cooperative Perudo. So you have to. It's similar, the same feeling of Perudo because you have to try to understand how many cards of the different kinds the other players have. But it's not competitive like Perudo, but it's cooperative. So it's a very interesting way to play this kind of games. Then we have a card game with 9 games. Old London Bridge with Queen Games. That Essen is the first fair we do, and then there are also two games that are not games of mine, but games that comes from the last Premier Chimede. Um, and this also is something we are very proud because we, with the Premio, we make published a lot of good games, and so Fresh Fruits and Overbooking. Overbooking was the winner of the Premio, and it's a very nice card game, and it will be released by Utter Hook Games.
And so, why do you enjoy game design, and are you surprised that this became your job?
It's to design games is a wonderful creative job, and I like to play games, so I like also to design them. It was surprise, yes, it was surprise because most of the people even don't know that there is really an author of a game. So, and if probably if I didn't meet Alex, I wasn't a game designer. So yes, it is a really surprise that I can do this.
So your last game then is one of yours. You said you wanted to take one, and this is, we've already spoken about it, Leo muss zum, my German, Leo muss zum Friseur, and this didn't win the Kinderspiel, but it won the Deutsche Kinderspiel. Why do you think this game was so successful?
Because it is the perfect game for a family, because you can play, adults can play together with children and have fun, because it's a challenge, but not a challenge against your children. That is often it's not so fun because you can enjoy a game only if you want to win. But if you play with your children, and probably you have not the same need necessary to win. So most of the cases you don't enjoy enough to play with them. With Leo, you have the chance to play against the game, and so you can really have fun, and it's a very simple game. You can explain it in few seconds, and everybody like it. Yes, even when I was in the Vaporetto, in the boat that public transport in Venice, and I have the idea to make a game with my name. Uh, and okay, I say, okay, Leo, what can do Leo? But Leo can be a lion, because in Italian Leo lion is called Leone. It's Leone, Leonardo. It's the same the same word. And then okay, what can do a lion? A lion has a very big hair, and I have no more hair on my head. So I am like, okay, let's say he must go to the barber, and then I had the idea on how to develop the game in the 12 minutes of trip. I arrived in the studio, I made a prototype, and I play tested with the other guys of my studio, and immediately it works perfectly. I never changed the first prototype. And when I presented the game in Essen, I visited the Abacus stand. I showed them the game. They told me, very interesting, send me a prototype. And so after the fair, I go back home. And the day after, I received an email from Abacus that they told me, we don't need a prototype. We were so fallen in love with the game that we make the prototype ourselves. And we want to publish the game. So I think it's the first time I signed a contract without sending even a prototype.
So I've got one more question for you then. So you're heading out of Venice to the cabin and you go round a corner and the back door of the car flies open. 4 of the games fly out into a river and are swept away. Which game do you hope is sitting on the back seat?
As I told you, if I lose the deck of cards, I lose 5,000 games. So I think the best is to save the double deck. It's small. You can put in your pocket. You have 1,000 of games.
And so, if people want to know what you're doing, what games you're designing, how can they do that?
We have a site that is studiogiochi.com. There is also an English section, so everybody can understand what we write. And in this site, we publish all the things we do. So www.studiogiochi.com.
Fabulous. Well, Leo Colovini, thank you very much.
Thank you to you.
You can support the show in many ways. You can tell your friends, you can talk about it on social media, you can talk about it in your own blog, podcast or video, or you can support it directly by going to patreon.com/5G4D for a rolling donation, or for a one-off donation, hitting the PayPal link at the bottom of the website, 5gamesfordoomsday.com. It's these donations that keep the show going. Also, if you want to say something nice about the show, or if you want to say something horrible about the show, you can contact me on Twitter at 5gamesfordoomsday, or send me an email at 5gamesfordoomsday@gmail.com. And if I've managed to leg it from the humongous jam tarts and the horrible reality of it all, I'll see you in 2 weeks for another 5 Games for Doomsday.